When I beat Kell Brook and do it in his hometown, I'm the top dog. Who has done that? Go into enemy territory and get a victory in his home kitchen. I think I'm the top dog. I'm taking more risk. When the fight with Amir Khan fell through, he said he was going to fight me at 147. I figured he was coming down as he didn't have options at 154. I respect him for that and think he's not scared. I commend him for that. He showed he had a good jab and a good 1-2. He was catching Sean coming and he was strong enough to hold him. I think me and Sean have different styles. I don't jump in there and be left there to be held. I don't think he'll be able to hold, and if he does, I hope the referee intervenes. Those are the words of Errol Spence Jr. ahead of his mandatory shot against IBF welterweight world champion Kell Brook. He was also talking there about Kell Brook's performance against Sean Porter. Now, personally, I have seen a lot of people online saying that they think the Kell Brook-Errol Spence fight will unfold in a similar fashion to the Kell Brook-Sean Porter fight. They think that Kell Brook will use similar tactics against Errol Spence that he used against Sean Porter. And my counter to that is, I don't think those kind of tactics will be anywhere near as effective against Errol Spence as they were against Sean Porter. And some of the reasons for that were briefly touched on there in that quote by Errol Spence. He says he doesn't jump in the way that Sean Porter does, and he really doesn't. Sean Porter jumps in at 100 miles an hour, and because he's a short guy, it's easier to grab hold of him, lean on him, so on and so forth. Errol Spence is a lot more measured in his attacks. Also, Errol Spence is a southpaw, so when it comes to actually tying him up, the angles are not as complementary. Errol Spence is a cleaner puncher than Sean Porter, a better body puncher. He's not as wild. Sean Porter comes in at 100 miles an hour with his arms flailing all over the place. And because his arms are flailing, you can get, as Kell Brook did, one of your arms over one of his arms or under his two arms to tie him up. With Errol Spence, he keeps his shape a lot more when he comes on the inside. And that just makes him more difficult to tie up, along with being a southpaw. He's also not a short guy. He's just as tall as Kell Brook is. So again, it's going to be more difficult to tie him up. I know that Sean Porter is terrifically strong, but I believe Errol Spence may be close to that type of physical strength, not far off. Perhaps he can match Sean Porter for strength. So I think it's going to be a very different fight. I think it's going to be a cleaner fight than the Sean Porter fight, which isn't hard really, because the Sean Porter-Kell Brook fight was such a scrappy fight. It's not difficult for it to be cleaner than that. There can still be quite a lot of holding, and it will be cleaner than it would still be cleaner than the Kell Brook-Sean Porter fight. But yeah, just because of the different skill set that Errol Spence has, the different style in terms of being a southpaw, and the different strengths, I think it will be very difficult for Kell Brook to pull off that type of strategy successfully. He may try, but I just don't think it will be as successful because, Errol Spence, I think, will be more competitive at long range. I do think Brook will probably still have the advantage at long range because I think he throws better straight shots than Errol Spence, and I think he has a better jab than Errol Spence. But Spence is still good enough at long range to be competitive and make Brook have to think. And then when he gets on the inside with them body shots, Brook's going to have problems, I feel. But as far as the stuff Errol Spence is saying, him beating Kell Brook will make him number one because he's gone away from home and what have you, I certainly disagree with that. I think there are a lot of matchups to be made yet to consolidate the belts at 147 pounds and get a clearer picture about who's the best. At the moment, in terms of a 147-pound resume, Keith Thurman is the man. He's beat Sean Porter, he's beat Danny Garcia. Actually, sorry, you could say that Pacquiao's still the man, but let's just put Pacquiao aside for a second. Certainly in terms of who's done what lately, I would say Keith Thurman is at the moment the man, but you can't say he's the best. You can just say he's got the best recent resume at 147 by beating Sean Porter and beating Danny Garcia. In terms of who's the best overall, we need to match these guys together. If Pacquiao Khan goes ahead, the winner of that could face Keith Thurman. And if, well, hopefully the Brook Errol Spence fight will go ahead, the winner of that fight could fight Keith Thurman and then maybe fight Pacquiao, or Pacquiao can't win, or whoever it's going to be. So we'll see. There's still a long way to go. So for Errol Spence to say this, it's cool. I mean, you have to believe you're the best. If you're in Errol Spence's position, you have to believe that you are the man to beat. But you also have to be mindful that in the eyes of the fans, you're going to have to prove that. You know, never mind what you believe, you're going to have to prove it to the fans before you can, you know, really start acting as though you're the guy in the division. Because there are certain fighters who go around saying, yeah, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. And when it comes to the negotiating table, they understand that they are not proven as the best in the eyes of the public and in the eyes of the television companies. So therefore, they know they're not going to be able to demand crazy money. And that's cool. That's 100% fine. But the guys who haven't proven that they're the best, but believe they're the best, who then start demanding silly money at the negotiating table, you know, they really don't have a leg to stand on. I hope Errol Spence don't turn out to be one of those kind of guys if he manages to beat Kell Brook. You know, beating Brook, that's cool. That's a great win for you. But don't go overboard. You know, don't start making a Pacquiao fight or a Keith Thurman fight difficult by acting as though you deserve all this money. I mean, he's going to deserve more money if he is an IBF world champion, but still, one win over a top-tier welterweight does not a legend make, does not a pay-per-view star make. So you have to bear these things in mind. Anyway, let me stop waffling here, people. Let me know what you feel about Errol Spence's comments here on Kell Brook. Do you think he's holding his potential win over Brook in too high a regard by saying that he'll be the man by going into enemy territory? I mean, Brook went into enemy territory against Sean Porter to win the title. So he's not doing anything that Brook hasn't already done. And yeah, just let me know how you feel also about his assessment of Brook versus Sean Porter and the fact that he sees himself as a very different type of fighter than Sean Porter and therefore envisages a different type of fight. He also said there, in terms of Brook fighting Porter, that Brook has a good 1-2 and a good jab. And I don't think he sees much beyond that, apart from a good 1-2 and a good jab. And to be honest with you, Brook is pretty straight up and down. He's good at long range, I'll say that. He's good with the straight punches, he's good with the jab, he's good with the 1-2, and he has a good uppercut as well. You know, he hit Triple G with that uppercut, so he's good with that too. But he's certainly not the most comprehensive fighter out there. You know, he's not particularly good at throwing short shots on the inside. He's not particularly good on the inside at all. He tends to just hold rather than engage you on the inside. So, yeah, let me stop waffling. Drop your comments. It's happening. I'm out.